She says she cannot control her 15-year-old daughter, Christina, who's waiting backstage. Linda says things have gotten so bad she has actually had to have her daughter arrested. How did things get this bad?
I don't know. She just out of control. She wants to beat up everybody. She wants to run away. She wants to control her life as an adult. She don't want to go by any rules or regulations or anything like that. She's beat up her baby brother. He almost broke her neck, as her dad said. She's beat up my son. I've got a 13-year-old son. She's hurt my girlfriend's son.
She reacts violently to everything?
Everything. If she doesn't get her way, she's completely out of control. I mean, she'll tell you, if she doesn't get her way, she'll make your life miserable. She's threatened to kill me before. She's got. I had to have her arrested due to the fact that she beat the crap out of me.
How did she? Tell me about that.
Well, she was getting ready to move out to her dad's house because I agreed to let her move, and she was taking a bunch of pictures and a bunch of stuff of mine. I asked her for it back, and she said no. And I said, I'll go and leave your room if you give me the stuff back. And then she started pushing, and we started fighting. And my husband pulled us apart, and then I called the police, because that's the only way anyone said they could help me is if I had her arrested. And I wanted to get help for her before she got out of hand, and she's gotten so out of hand. I love my daughter, and I want her to be with me. But she's so far distance from me. She wants to abuse everything.
How long has she been this way?
I'd say about real bad just here in the last year. But it was off and on, like a little bit of trouble.
And you've had her live with other people?
Yeah, she's lived at 3 other places. She lived a month with her dad, and he couldn't. It was between his marriage.
Is backstage. First, Deborah, I want to give you a chance to tell us for yourself what Candace has been putting you through. And a lot of this is important to know that they're from Texas, because there's some different things they do in Texas that they don't necessarily do in every state. You told us that Candace drinks, uses drugs, has run away 10 times this year.
Yes.
And she's violent?
Yes.
Okay. When did all of this start?
She was 11 years old when all of it started. So I've been going through it for almost 2.5 years. This year's been the worst. She's fought with me about everything. It doesn't matter what I tell her to do. She doesn't want to do it. I've had her in a home in Waxahachie, Texas. She got herself kicked out of there. She went to a public school there, and she fought with the principal, got an assault charge on her.
What do you mean fought with the principal?
The principal at school. He told her to do something, and she wouldn't do it. She said she didn't have to. So she hit him, and he filed charges, and then 3 other teachers. She hit them.
So you have a 13-year-old who cannot go to school. She's been kicked out of school till 1996.
Right.
She does not have to go to school,
and
so she lays around the house all day.
That's right.
Watches television. And you've gotten fined twice. Now,
twice.
Explain, in Texas, if your kid does something wrong, you get the fine?
Yes, they issue them a ticket. It's just like a speeding ticket. And one of them is for assault. That's a $500 fine. And then the other one was for disorderly conduct on the school bus, and that's $130.
What happens if you discipline her?
Oh, well, that's another story. That's another story. See, she attacked me, and I've got a bite right here. She bit me, and I had to go get a tetanus shot because she bit me. And my other daughter had to pull her off of me. It's because I tried to discipline her, you know. And now it's not that
Chrissy is so, speaking of fighting, so out of control that she's gone to court to get a divorce from her own child. That's true?
Yes, ma'am. Why? I have an 8-year-old son with epilepsy. My daughter takes and pounds his head into a freezer, puts the size of a golf ball in the back of his head, puts him into a seizure. My son requires CPR when he has these seizures. I have to do CPR on him to bring him back to life.
She knows that he's epileptic.
Oh, yeah.
She knows that if she bangs his head into a freezer, he can die.
Yeah.
His heart stops. He goes into a seizure.
Everything
and
stops.
yet she continues to do that.
Yeah, she don't care. Everything is, I don't care, or so what.
Why?
I don't know. I've done everything I can do. She punches me. She's bloodied my lip. She kicks me.
And yet you're afraid to hit her. Why?
Why? Because I'm afraid I won't be able to stop once I start hitting her.
I should tell people that as the show is being taped, you have no idea what will happen because Chrissy has a court hearing.
Tomorrow, yes, ma'am.
What are the What is the court hearing for? For beating up your son?
No, ma'am. It's for unruly child, her attitude, and threatening me to run away.
Okay. And what are the possibilities of what can happen to her?
Well, first, she could get probation to the end of the school year. Or second, she could be put on house arrest, which that wouldn't do us any good at all.
Because she'd beat up her brother,
right? Right. And the third thing is she could be sent to a juvenile detention center.
I had honors classes and A's, and everything went down. And my self-esteem was really, really low. Everything went horrible. Me and my mom's relationship got further and further apart. And at the time, I thought it was all good. I thought it was all fun and games, you know. Oh, yeah, I got this fine guy. And it was stupid. It was really stupid. And now I'm mature, you know.
Well, what happened? What is boot camp?
It was in the middle of the woods, and you live in a tent. You live outside the whole time you're there.
How long were you there?
I was there 6 months, in the middle of dead winter, in the middle of the hot summer.
Were you cold? Tell me what boot camp is like.
You get up. You have to get up on time. You have to do what they say.
Suppose you didn't.
Suppose you didn't? Then, first of all, there are 11 other girls there. You have to think about the other girls. You don't just think about yourself. You would get your ass whooped. I'm sorry.
Why would they get their ass whooped?
Because there are 12 girls in a group. You have to start thinking about other people. You have to get up on time. You have to go to school. If you don't go to school, then, oh, well, you don't eat. You know, I mean, you learn to live.
If you don't go to school, you don't eat?
Yes, you learn to live. And all this stuff about shooting men, you know, in the Bible it says that if you shoot a person, you are not killing them. If you sit there and talk to a person and make them feel lower, that's really killing a person. If you shoot a person, you are not killing them, you're killing yourself.
All right. What would happen if somebody in your group, if one of the 12 girls got in trouble, what would happen to them?
Then all of you would get in trouble, and they have a place where you sit down and you have to talk about your problems. And usually if one person messed up the whole group, then the other girls would be on that one person.
What would your attitude be? You don't care?
I don't care. I mean, as long as I can take care of my own, I mean, that's me.
But you can't take care of your own out there. You got to take care of your own and 11 other people.
What else do they do to you? Now, and they give you enough wood for 1 hour of a pot-bellied stove. It seems very strong.
Sally, you know what they're doing? They're getting back to basics because that's what these girls need desperately.
Basics.
Yes, the basics of what discipline and boundaries are all about, because their moms, in all good consciousness, weren't giving them that themselves. As a result, they are parents who didn't know how to parent. They didn't know how to set limits. As a result, each one of the girls is so filled with rage at being robbed of not being parented. And you know something? I've said this before. Parents aren't given an instruction book. And I think that each one of the girls, each one of you needs to acknowledge the fact that your moms are really trying hard. They're doing what they can do, but they can't do any more. And it's time for you guys to separate. Each one of you need to be separate and find out who you are, because you're worth a lot more than what you're doing right now. And the way you do that, one of the ways is this boot camp, because it brings them right down to what reality is all about, because you're not living in reality.